Okay, today we'll be talking about how to go ahead and make salsa, and what you'll need for this is you'll need your cutting board, you'll need a chef's knife, you'll need a spoon or a wooden scraper, and you also need a bowl to put your ingredients in. Okay, the ingredients that you're going to need for the salsa are as follows: 1 green bell pepper, 1 red bell pepper, a half of a lemon, a half of a lime, a half of a red onion, 2 to 3 tomatoes, a handful of cilantro, 1 jalapeno pepper. And if you want your salsa to be spicy, you're going to make sure that you leave the seeds in. If you don't want it to be spicy, you're going to clean it out and just use the skin or the outside of it. You're also going to need some minced garlic. And last but not least, you can't enjoy your salsa without some chips. Okay, to begin with, we're going to start with our cilantro. The cilantro is pre-washed, so you're not going to need to wash it. But if you feel the need, you can always rinse it off underneath the sink. That won't hurt it. Then you can go through the cilantro, and if you see any that look brown or dead, that don't look appealing, you can go ahead and remove those off to the side. The technique of cutting that we're going to use for this is called the crossover technique. And so what we're going to do is try to mince this up or cut it up as much as possible. And remember, when you're holding your knife, you want to hold it in a pinched manner with the rest of your fingers held over the back half of the knife. Don't forget that your knife is only sharp on the bottom and the front. So those are the two areas that we're going to avoid. We are going to focus on putting our non-dominant hand on the front, and we are going to just simply start chopping it up. Anytime it starts to slide off, and use it and just pick it up, kind of bring it back into the middle, and start chopping again. Once you feel that it is chopped up to the best of your ability, or in as small pieces as you want, that's when you're going to add it to your bowl. Remember, you want to try to keep everything organized. You can always slide your finger along the side of it and remove the material off the knife. But you don't want to touch the bottom or the front. Keep your cilantro organized. Keep your bowl off to the side, and when you're done, just simply slide that cilantro right into the bowl. Okay, the next item that we're going to be cutting up is the green bell pepper. This technique is the same for the green bell pepper as it is for the red pepper, and all we're going to want from this pepper is the outside skin. We're actually not going to want any of the insides to this pepper. So as we cut it, we're going to be using a rock chop. To begin with, you want to make sure that your fingers are underneath your knuckles, so that way you keep your fingers out of the cutting area, and you're just going to come down on it. And as you come down on it, you can see I opened it up. I got some stuff on the inside that I don't want, so I'm going to go ahead and take that out. Get those seeds out of there because I don't need any of that. The white is not tasty. It is edible, but it's not tasty. So you're going to go ahead and put that off to the side, and then we're just going to work on our rock chop. Remember, My non-dominant hand is like a claw, and I can control how far the knife is with my movement. So I'm just going to come in with a rock chop and slice this. And now I'm going to come back and chop it again. Once again, I can clean it off on the sides, but I don't want to touch the edge. And then when I'm ready to, I can go ahead and put that in my bowl. Put my bowl off to the side. And I'm going to keep working around my bell pepper. Now that it's flat, it'll be a little bit easier for me. I'm going to rock chop it again. I just want the skin. I don't want anything else. So you can see here I did a nice job of just getting the skin. I start with the knife up against my knuckles. Just give it a rock chop. Once I've cut it in one direction, I can go ahead and slide it over, and I can cut it in a opposite direction. And when I'm ready, I can go ahead and add that to my bowl. And I'm going to keep doing that. Same exact technique for both the green pepper and the red pepper. Okay, now that our green pepper and our red pepper are in the bowl and added, you can see they're all cubed up or squared up. And you can see what's left. I'm not going to use everything in the pepper, but clearly I used a lot of the outside layer to it, and if you wanted, you could even take off more. All of that is going to go into the compost because everything that is left over today is able to go into the compost. The next thing you're going to need is a red onion, and when you get your red onion, it's going to look like this. It's still going to have some of the skin on it, so what you're going to actually want to do is go ahead and remove some of that skin, and the easiest way to do that is to actually remove any kind of skin that's going to want to move on your fingers while you hold it. You're going to want to hold it off to the side, and then you're just going to want to come and just rock or tap chop the end of the onion off there. Once you've done that, I can get to the part that is peelable, and then I just want to peel back that first layer of skin so that way all that goes in the compost and the rest is edible. So, now that we have it nice and flat and we're able to use it, we're going to rock chop it, or we are going to tap chop it, depending on what you're most comfortable with. And the best way to do that is just keep your knife along your fingers and come on down on it. Once it gets wobbly or loose on you, you can come off to the side and you can rock chop it. And then you want to come across it after you've cut it up a little bit, and you want to go ahead and cross chop it. Remember, you can slide your finger across the sides. You don't want to touch the bottom though. And you can use your knife to kind of draw it in. Remember that you're going to have a larger cutting board than this, so you'll have more room to play with than I do. Once you have it cut up to your liking, you can go ahead and put that into your bowl. Any pieces that you don't like or any part of the stem that you want to get out, you can do that now. And then you're just going to simply slide that in. Okay. Okay, as you can see now, our bowl has all of our ingredients so far. I'm going to set that off to the side, and the next thing I'm going to add is my jalapeno pepper. Remember, the jalapeno pepper is going to add spice to it, so if you don't want it to be very spicy, you want to take the seeds out. If you do want it spicy, you want to leave the seeds in. So I'm going to show you how to take the seeds out in case you want to. The first thing you're going to do is go ahead and chop off the top of it. If you are okay with the seeds and everything being in it, then you're just going to go ahead and start rock chopping it all the way down to the end and add everything to your salsa. But if you don't want the seeds in it, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come across the side, just like I've done there, and then you're actually going to use the tip of your knife and you're going to remove any seeds that you can. And you can do that right over your compost bin if you want, but you want to try to remove as much of the seeds as possible and just keep the skin. The seeds are going to be the spicy part of the jalapeno. Same thing with this one. You want to take it and just kind of remove the skin. In the middle there. You can see most of the seeds are gone, but I have some on my cutting board, so I'm actually going to take that and I'm going to slide it off into the pile that I'm making. For my compost bin, because I don't want those to get mixed in and then find out how spicy they are later. Same thing as before, just like a pepper. This actually is a pepper, jalapeno pepper, just like the red pepper, the green pepper. You're going to use the rock chop, so you're going to come off to the side. And you're just going to keep your fingers out of the way, rock chop it in one direction, and then if you want it in smaller, you can come across it and cross chop it. We're going to do the same thing with this guy. We're going to cross chop it. And there's no magic size to the pieces. If you want large chunky pieces, make them large. If you want small pieces, keep cross chopping over top of it until you're happy with it. And we'll do that right in front of the camera so everybody can see I'm just adding it to the bowl. Okay, now we're getting ready to cut the tomato, and we're going to use several different techniques to cut the tomato. The first thing you see is that sometimes the tomato will sit well on one side or the other. You actually want to go to the bottom. This is the top here. This is where it came off of the branch or the stem or the leaf was next to it. So you want to go to the back side, and all you're simply going to do is make sure your fingers are all out of the way, and you're just going to take a slice off the back, and you can see what it looks like when you take a slice off the back. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and tap chop it from one side to the other. So I'm going to come down on it, and I'm not going all the way down. In fact, if you get more comfortable, you can actually come from the other way. I'm not going all the way down. Going almost all the way down, but not all the way. That's going to give me a problem there, so I'm going to go back to this side. Now I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm going to start doing the same thing. I'm going to hold it on the ends, and I'm just going to work my way alongside of it. Now that it's all good to go, I'm going to come back over here to this side. I'm going to hold it so my fingers are out of the way, and I'm going to take the top off of it. There you go. That's off to the side, and now I can just simply come down on it. And actually, what would be best now, just go ahead and remove the center, if you see it in there. And we're just going to rock chop it, or cross over it. Once I have it pretty well chopped up, I can take it over to my bowl and add it to my bowl. And we're going to do this for all 3 tomatoes. Okay, because the garlic is a little bit more labor intensive than the 3 basic chopping techniques that we've been using, that will already be cut for you. And all you're going to simply do is take that bowl, put it in front of you, and just go ahead and add that to your bowl. The next things you want to add are going to be half of a lime and half of a lemon. And the way you do... Okay, now the garlic has been added. We're going to use that half a lime and half a lemon, and we're just going to go ahead and squeeze as much of this in as we can. We're adding the acid to it, and so we're just going to simply just keep squeezing it until you get as much out as you can. And this is where you're going to have to use a bit of your muscle there and just kind of squeeze it out. And you can work as much of that in as you want. Remember, there's no rush to this, so if you want to squeeze a little bit more, work a little bit longer at it, you can. But you want to squeeze as much of that lemon out as you can, and that lime. Any seeds, you don't want them to get in the bowl, you want to take them out, but the rest you want to go ahead and just squeeze and add as much to that as you can. Like I said, any seeds, you want to go ahead and pull them out. And just squeeze away. In fact, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking that it might be better to go ahead and give you a bowl, a separate bowl, or a measuring cup to go ahead and put this in. That way you get as much as you can without getting the seeds in it. But you certainly want to add your lemon, add your lime, and once you're done with all that, 2 ingredients I forgot to tell you about are salt. You want to make sure that you add some salt to it. And you can add this as you mix it up if you decide you want more. And then add some pepper to it. Once you've added as much as you can, go ahead and take that rubber scraper or that spoon, and you're just going to mix it up. Once you feel it's mixed up enough, you can go ahead and as a group try it and enjoy.